Today's video will tell you a little more about the life of a Victorian woman. Let's talk about the feminine hygiene of that era. The movie is a must-see. Don't forget to click the like button. During the Victorian period, women looked striking, especially in extremely ornate dresses with tiered skirts. Although we idealize this era, we know that some situations can be quite difficult, especially for women. Have you ever thought about it? As we know, during the reign of Queen Victoria, from 1840 to 1901, there was a very strong evolution in all fields. However, it was not until the late Victorian years that tap water began to flow into the homes of the wealthy. But until all this happened and we came here, people had a lot of strange customs. How did Victorian women use the toilet? With so many skirts, petticoats, and garters, Victorian women had a little more trouble going to the bathroom than women today. But what you might not know is that their underwear is different. They didn't wear underwear like the underwear we have today. Instead, they wear long pants and knee-length shorts made of thin, airy material. But the biggest difference is that these boxes have holes between the legs so that the genitals can urinate and defecate freely without having to remove clothes. They simply lifted their skirts, bent over the potty or toilet, and did what they had to do. We can imagine that in a critical situation, this might not be effective, but that was the resource of the day. The first ideas for toilet paper began appearing in stores around 1870, at the end of the 19th century. These are scented papers with antiseptic chemical additives that help eliminate unpleasant odors. Needless to say, these disinfectant sheets have caused many burns and irritation to the female genital organs, right? Well, before the advent of toilet paper, both men and women used old newspapers and even corn cobs to clean themselves. But rich women still kept cleaning cloths in the bathroom. These pieces of cloth also help clean private areas during menstruation. Old newspapers are also often used to clean up after defecation. If we talk about menstruation, of course, there were no sanitary napkins like today. Instead, women used pieces of fabric, such as linen, folded and secured with something like a garter belt. Cleaning is done with wet wipes, and everything is washed with hot water for reuse. How did Victorian women bathe? There are still no showers, but everyone showers or maintains minimal hygiene. Poor families boil water on the stove and use wooden or metal bathtubs to bathe. Typically, such more thorough and longer cleanings are not performed on a daily basis. Instead, women specifically keep a large pitcher of water and a bowl in their room so they can wash their hands, face, armpits, and groin every day. Victorian women still used damp towels to wipe their entire bodies, especially private areas. Most of them have this daily routine. Wealthy houses had porcelain bathtubs and a special place for bathing. The most luxurious type is the foot bath, a small bathtub designed solely for washing the feet with hot water, especially before going to bed. How did Victorian women wash their hair? Victorian women's hairstyles were quite complicated. The process of washing, drying, and styling took many hours, so it is unlikely that Victorian women washed their hair regularly. Hair was very long, but leaving it loose at that time was extremely unfashionable. A married woman only lets her hair down in front of her husband when they are alone. This custom dates back to the Middle Ages. Back then, people believed that washing your hair too often would damage it. Therefore, to stay healthy, women did not wash their hair as often as we do today. Many of them clean their hair every 15 or 30 days. Some late Victorian hygiene and beauty books advise people with oily hair to wash their hair every 2 weeks, and those with normal hair to wash their hair once a month. Shampoo is still not very popular. Women use the same bath soap to wash their hair and clean their scalp. Soap in those days was much stronger than it is today. Some contain caustic soda in the formula, which causes hair to dry out. Pure ammonia is sometimes used to clean the scalp. What about body odor? Well, before lotions and deodorants became popular, people could not hide body odor in their armpits and clothes. Women with more money can buy perfume or cologne, but it is cheaper to buy a fragrant powder called talcum powder. Women use talcum powder every day because it not only has a pleasant fragrance, but also absorbs moisture, preventing body odor from transferring to clothes. Talc is also applied to the groin area after cleaning because clothing is warm and causes a lot of sweating, especially between the legs. On the other hand, poor women cannot even buy talcum powder. Women use talcum powder every day because it not only has a pleasant fragrance, but also absorbs moisture, preventing body odor from transferring to clothes. Talc is also applied to the groin area after cleaning because clothing is warm and causes a lot of sweating, especially between the legs. On the other hand, poor women cannot even buy talcum powder. Therefore, pieces of cloth were used under the arms to prevent sweat from leaving a foul odor on the dress. How did Victorian women take care of their clothes? As we mentioned earlier, we were very careful to keep the skirt sweat-free. There is an explanation for this. It is said that in Victorian times, women did not wash the beautiful dresses they wore. The dresses are hung up and dust removed with a soft brush. Visible stains are removed with a damp cloth, moistening the dirty area only if necessary. The same thing is done with the jacket. They have never really been washed. Only petticoats, corsets, bras, and panties should be soaked in water and washed with soap. Of course, all this work was done by servants. Wealthy women had their own laundress who took care of the entire family's laundry. How did they take care of their oral hygiene? We know that dentistry was not very developed in Victorian times, right? Most procedures a dentist can perform involve removing damaged teeth. In early Victorian times, people brushed their teeth with just salt and rubbed it with their fingers. The toothbrush as we know it today was invented in 1857. However, it became popular much later, at the beginning of the 20th century. What do you think? Are you interested in learning about feminine hygiene during the Victorian era? Want to see more videos like this? Write your suggestions in the comments. Watch other videos on our channel, like and subscribe.